Hi, it's Laura at Aquamarine 18. Thanks for clicking on my video today. I am here with a VR for Day 4's prompt for 31 Days of Witchcraft. Now that we're on Day 4, I'm sure folks have figured out how this works by now, but I will continue to link Heather Carter's video below where she shares her ideas coming up with 31 Days of Witchcraft and all of the daily prompts there. But without further ado, Day 4's question is, what is your favorite element to work with and how do you work with it? So I don't have a favorite element to work with. I would say that I strive to work with earth and air and fire and water roughly equally. And I do incorporate all of them into my spiritual practice, magical practice. Interestingly, just as a little aside, I have a fairly elementally balanced birth chart, but really not a whole lot of air. That's the one that is not very represented in my birth chart, which is interesting because I work in academia and education, and I feel like there's a lot of air-heavy birth charts in academia. But I have a water sun sign, an earth moon sign, and a fiery rising sign. So other than air, which is conspicuously absent in my chart compared to the other three, I have a lot of balance there. And I like working with all of the elements. So I have shown before pictures on this channel of my sacred space, the table that I read tarot on, for example. A while back I did a tag called Where I Tarot. There's a picture of it in there. And I always have a representation of all of the four elements on that table. In four little glass jars, I have some dirt from the ground outside my house for earth, feather for air, a tea light, which I'll light for fire, and some water, of course, for water. I also work a lot with tools that incorporate elements into them in one way or another. So the book Elemental Divination, a Dice Oracle, for example, which involves working with dice, and the six sides of the dice are each associated with an element, and in that system it is air, fire, water, earth, sun, and moon. And I really like the Elemental Divination book a lot. I am also very much drawn to tarot decks that have strong elemental associations in their suits, and to oracle decks that have some elemental representation or system in some way. I'm really drawn to cards like that. And the four elements, I would say, are very much part of the way that I conceptualize the world and conceptualize energy moving within the world. So are central to my practice, all of them equally. And I did take a little bit of notes for this question to just think about, some of the ways that I work with each one. So, for example, to work with fire, candle magic, of course, lighting candles, lighting incense, burning writings that I've done, incense I already mentioned, which I'll mention again for air, actually. And I also just love having fires outside. So for me, a solstice, for example, gotta have a fire outdoors, and I live somewhere that is feasible, and there's usually a solstice fire in my neighborhood, which is great. For water, I do like to make moon water and sun water. I collect rainwater at times to work with in my spiritual practice. I make baths for myself with essential oils or herbs as a meditative and self-caring practice, we'll say. I work with like room clearing sprays, which involves utilizing water, of course. Sometimes room clearing sprays that I've purchased or that I've made myself. I also think of things like body mists and sprays with essential oils that I might use on the body as working with water in a spiritual way. And one of my favorite places to sit and work, whether I'm journaling or doing a reading or anything like that, is by the river near my house. Working with air, I think of things like breath work and breathing in particular, patterns in meditation. I also think of air when I think of working with sound to clear a space. I've mentioned, I think previously a couple of times, that I like to begin any kind of tarot reading or oracle reading for myself with a bell, just to set the space, and to end it with the bell as well. And that's also for any kind of magical time for me, not just tarot time, but I am a big fan of the bell. And I also think of smoke cleansing as working with the element of air, so cleansing with incense smoke or smoke from burning herbs of various types, safely and sustainably, of course. And then in terms of working with earth, of course, crystals, which come from the earth, and are representations of earth to me. I know that, different crystals have different elemental associations, beyond that. But for me, there's a sense in which all crystals are earth, are manifestations of earth for me. I also work with earth in growing herbs for myself, both to be used in spiritual practice and to be used in cooking. So I grow, sage, I grow oregano and chives and all of these kind of delicious things in the earth, right? I can see my garden outside my window. I know you can't all see it, but it's over there. And so that very much is a way of working with the earth for me. I'm interested to hear other folks' answers. I feel like I could have probably elaborated a lot more, but I'm trying to keep these videos under kind of 10 minutes insofar as that is possible, since I know, not only am I making a lot of them, but I know that you all will want to be watching a lot of them, since, there will be many participants for this tag, so trying to keep things manageable. But if you have any questions about how I think about the elements or work with the elements or any of the practices that I've mentioned, please feel free to discuss in the comments if you'd like. I'm happy to have those conversations and look forward to seeing others' video responses, of course. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.